Have you ever noticed that the most dangerous people rarely speak the most? The loud man tells everyone his dreams. The wise man quietly builds them. History remembers kings who lost their kingdoms because they trusted the wrong ears. Generals who revealed their next move before the battle had even begun. Powerful men who mistook attention for loyalty. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your enemy doesn't always attack you with weapons. Sometimes they attack with questions. What are your plans? Who are you working with? What are you saving for? What are you afraid of? It sounds like curiosity, but hidden beneath curiosity is intelligence gathering. Every answer you give becomes another piece of the puzzle they're secretly building about you. Machiavelli understood something that most people still fail to understand today. Information is power. And every unnecessary truth you reveal is power you willingly surrender. The world doesn't belong to the strongest. It belongs to those who understand what should remain unseen. Today, you'll discover the things you should never reveal to your enemies, because once these secrets leave your mouth, you can never take them back. The first one may already be destroying your life without you realizing it. Imagine two men standing before the same mountain. The first man proudly announces, "Tomorrow I will climb this mountain. I've been training for months. I know the exact route. I'll reach the top before sunset." The second man says nothing. The next morning, only one reaches the summit. Silence has always been misunderstood as weakness. In reality, silence is camouflage. Machiavelli believed appearances often matter more than reality. The man who reveals everything becomes predictable. And predictable people are easy to control. Think about chess. If your opponent knew every move you planned 5 turns ahead, would you ever win? Of course not. Life operates by the same principle. Every goal you announce creates 2 invisible enemies. The first enemy is outside you. There will always be people who smile at your ambition while secretly hoping you fail. Some will discourage you. Others will copy your ideas. A few will quietly place obstacles in your path. Not because they hate you, but because your success reminds them of their own excuses. The second enemy is inside you. Psychologists have discovered something fascinating. When people publicly announce their goals, the brain often experiences a false sense of accomplishment. The praise they receive tricks the mind into feeling successful before any real work has been done. The result? Motivation slowly dies. This is why so many people enthusiastically declare, "I'm starting a business. I'm writing a book. I'm changing my life." Months later, nothing has changed except the number of people who now know about their unfinished dreams. Machiavelli would call this voluntary weakness. Because your plans should create results, not conversations. Your enemies don't need to stop you if they can distract you. They don't need to defeat you if they can make you comfortable talking instead of acting. Notice how the most successful people often surprise everyone. One day they're invisible. The next day they've already won. People call it luck. It wasn't luck. It was hidden preparation. A seed grows underground long before anyone sees the tree. Nature itself protects growth through secrecy. Why should your ambitions be any different? This brings us to something even more dangerous. Never reveal your weaknesses. Most people misunderstand vulnerability. They believe honesty automatically creates trust. Sometimes it does, but not with enemies. Never confuse emotional openness with strategic exposure. An enemy doesn't always attack immediately. Sometimes they simply wait. Imagine handing someone a detailed map showing every crack in your castle walls. Would they attack today? Maybe not. Would they remember those weak points months later? Absolutely. Your fears, your insecurities, your bad habits, your emotional triggers. These become weapons once they enter the wrong hands. The frightening part is that enemies rarely use force first. They use observation. They notice what makes you angry. They learn what makes you insecure. They discover which words instantly shake your confidence. Then they patiently wait for the perfect moment. One sentence, one reminder, one carefully chosen insult, and suddenly your emotions are controlling you instead of your mind. Machiavelli repeatedly warned rulers about emotional manipulation. A ruler controlled by emotion becomes predictable. A predictable ruler becomes vulnerable. The same applies to ordinary life. Have you ever wondered why certain people always know exactly what to say to upset you? Because at some point, you taught them. You revealed too much. You explained your deepest wounds believing they would be respected. Instead, they became ammunition. Powerful people understand an uncomfortable rule. Healing is private. Growth is quiet. Scars don't need an audience. Your weaknesses should be worked on in silence until they are no longer weaknesses. Because once your enemy discovers where you're fragile, They don't have to be stronger than you. They only need to push in the right place. And there is one secret even more valuable than your weaknesses. A secret that kings guarded more carefully than their treasure. Your true intentions. Most people reveal intention through excitement. They can't hide it. They begin talking differently, acting differently, hinting at future moves before making them. But Machiavelli believed the highest form of strategy was controlled unpredictability. If everyone knows exactly what you're about to do, they have time to prepare against you. If nobody knows, you control the pace. Think of water flowing through a forest. It never announces where it's going. It simply arrives. The strongest competitors in business rarely reveal their next innovation before launch. The greatest military commanders often concealed their real objectives until the final moment. Even predators in nature understand this principle. The lion doesn't roar before every hunt. It moves in silence. Only when the attack is unavoidable does the world realize what was happening all along. Most people mistake mystery for dishonesty. It isn't. Mystery is protection. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not everyone deserves to know your destination. Sometimes the safest answer is no answer at all. Because the less people know, the fewer opportunities they have to interfere. And yet, there is another secret, perhaps the most dangerous of all, that your enemies desperately want to uncover. It isn't your plans. It isn't your weaknesses. It's the one thing that determines every decision you will ever make. That is where the real game begins. What is the easiest way to control a person? It isn't through force. It isn't through fear. It is through understanding what they value the most. Once someone discovers your deepest desire, they no longer need to fight you. They simply place that desire in front of you like bait. And before you realize it, you're no longer making decisions. You're reacting. This is why Machiavelli warned that the person who cannot control his desires will eventually be controlled by someone else. Your enemies are always watching for patterns. Not because they're fascinated by you. Because patterns make you predictable. Imagine a hunter studying a wolf. He doesn't chase it on the first day. He watches. He notices where it drinks, where it hunts, what attracts it, what scares it. After enough observation, catching the wolf becomes effortless. The same thing happens in everyday life. Some people reveal their greatest desire within minutes of meeting someone. They constantly talk about becoming rich. They constantly seek validation. They crave attention. They desperately want power. At first, this seems harmless. But the wrong person immediately starts calculating. If money controls him, I can tempt him. If praise controls her, I can manipulate her. If loneliness controls them, I can offer fake companionship. The enemy doesn't need to destroy your strengths. They only need to exploit your desires. This is why the most powerful individuals never advertise what they want the most. They keep their ambitions hidden beneath calm behavior. Because once people know what you're chasing, they also know how to lead you. History is filled with leaders who lost everything because someone discovered their hidden obsession. Some desired glory. Others desired love. Some couldn't resist wealth. Others became addicted to admiration. Each one believed they were making independent choices. In reality, they were dancing to someone else's music. The greatest prison isn't made of iron. It's built from your own unchecked desires. Now ask yourself something uncomfortable. If someone watched your actions for 30 days, would they easily identify what controls you? Would they know exactly what offer would make you abandon your principles? Would they know which compliment would instantly lower your guard? If the answer is yes, you're carrying invisible chains. The truly dangerous person isn't the one with unlimited strength. It's the one whose mind cannot be purchased. The one who remains calm whether praised or insulted. Whether offered wealth or threatened with loss. That kind of person becomes almost impossible to manipulate. Because they don't chase. They choose. And that difference changes everything. There is another secret your enemies search for even more aggressively. Your emotional reactions. People believe words have power. They don't. Your reaction gives words their power. Think about this. Two people receive the exact same insult. One explodes with anger. The other smiles and walks away. The insult was identical. Only one person lost control. Machiavelli understood that emotional discipline is one of the greatest forms of power. Because the moment someone can predict your reactions, they can direct your behavior. This is exactly why experienced manipulators provoke before they persuade. They don't begin with arguments. They begin with emotions. They intentionally disrespect you, ignore you, challenge your ego, question your intelligence. Not because they care about the argument. Because they're testing something far more valuable. They're measuring your emotional weaknesses. The first reaction you give becomes information. The second reaction becomes confirmation. Soon they know exactly which buttons to press whenever they need something from you. Notice how some people can make others angry within seconds. It almost looks effortless. That's because they're not guessing anymore. They're following a map built from years of carefully observing emotional patterns. Every time you lose your temper unnecessarily, you reveal another page of that map. Every time jealousy becomes visible, another page. Every time your pride forces you to prove yourself, another page. Eventually, your enemies no longer need to think. They simply follow the instructions you've unknowingly written for them. This is why silence is often stronger than explanation. Calmness is often stronger than revenge. Indifference is often stronger than confrontation. Nothing confuses a manipulator more than someone who refuses to react as expected. They throw bait. You don't bite. They provoke. You remain composed. Suddenly, their strategy begins to collapse. Because manipulation requires participation. Without your emotional reaction, their weapon becomes useless. But there is one more mistake people make every single day. A mistake so common that most never recognize it until the damage has already been done. They reveal the people they trust the most. And that knowledge can become one of the deadliest weapons an enemy will ever possess. The people around you are more than companions. They are extensions of your strength. Every king understood this. A fortress is only as strong as the people guarding its walls. The same is true for your life. Most people believe betrayal begins with hatred. It doesn't. Betrayal begins with information. The moment your enemies know who influences you, who supports you, and who you cannot afford to lose, they know exactly where to strike. Notice how skilled manipulators rarely attack the strongest person first. They isolate them. They create misunderstandings, spread doubt, whisper rumors, turn allies into strangers. Because an isolated person is easier to defeat than a united one. Machiavelli understood that power is never entirely individual. Power exists through relationships. Destroy the relationships, and eventually the power disappears. This is why you should never openly reveal every valuable connection you have. Not every friendship needs an audience. Not every mentor needs publicity. Not every alliance should be announced. The strongest networks often exist quietly. The loudest ones usually exist for attention. There is one final secret that surpasses all the others. Your next move after failure. Life guarantees one thing. At some point, you will lose. You will be rejected. You will fail. And that is exactly when your enemies begin celebrating. They assume the story is over. They believe your confidence has disappeared. They expect you to explain yourself. Defend yourself. Make excuses. Reveal your recovery plan. This is the trap. The moment you explain how you're rebuilding, you give people time to prepare for your return. Instead, disappear. Improve in silence. Learn in silence. Recover in silence. Then return without warning. History remembers countless individuals who looked defeated, only to emerge stronger because nobody knew what they were building in the shadows. The world respects unexpected victories far more than promised ones. Machiavelli never suggested becoming paranoid. He suggested becoming disciplined. There is a difference. Discipline means understanding that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams. Not everyone deserves access to your pain. And certainly not everyone deserves access to your strategy. Your words are like arrows. Once released, they never return. Every unnecessary sentence gives someone the opportunity to judge you, copy you, delay you, or manipulate you. But silence. Silence protects possibilities. It keeps your enemies uncertain. It keeps your plans flexible. It keeps your power where it belongs, with you. Remember these lessons. Never reveal your plans before they become reality. Never reveal your weaknesses to those who haven't earned your trust. Never reveal your deepest desires, because desire is the easiest chain to pull. Never reveal your emotional triggers, because reactions become instructions for manipulators. Never reveal every valuable relationship you possess. And never reveal how you intend to rise after a fall. Because the greatest advantage you can ever have is to become impossible to predict. When people cannot read your mind, they cannot control your choices. When they cannot predict your next step, they cannot stand in your way. That is why the most powerful people in history often appeared ordinary until the exact moment they changed everything. Their strength wasn't in what they said. It was in what they chose to keep hidden. So before you speak, ask yourself one question. Does this information make me stronger? Or does it simply make me easier to understand? Because in the game of power, the less your enemies know, the fewer weapons they have against you. If you enjoyed this journey into Machiavelli's timeless principles, subscribe for more videos on power, strategy, dark psychology, and the hidden rules that shape human behavior. Until next time, remember, move with purpose, speak with intention, and let your success make the loudest noise of all.